Hello and happy opening day, White Sox fans. I am recording this just a couple of hours before first pitch of the entire season. And I wanted to take a quick look back and update my roster prediction video with seeing who the White Sox ended up picking and seeing where I just missed big time. And there was some excitement immediately where I was immediately wrong on something. And then I became right, which made me wrong somewhere else, which is, of course, all around. I almost said AJ Pollock because he's kind of playing that role this year. But I'm talking about Kevin Pillar. I did predict him to be the fourth outfielder, and I think it was the day of, or maybe the next day after I uploaded my video, he was released by the team. He was a Rule 20B, I think is how you would say it, or XXB. He's an XXB player, so he has a right of opting out of a minor league invite to spring training camp. The White Sox then brought him back, gave him a major league deal, so he is going to be on the opening day roster, but they had to clear room on the 40-man, which meant releasing Touki Toussaint, who I put on my opening day roster. He ended up staying with the team, so he's going to be some minor league depth, and it's always so nice to have minor league depth, which is something that we have not had at the pitcher position in a long time. And it's not like Touki is a big time player, but it is nice having somebody that does have major league experience waiting in the wings if needed. And I don't want to overstate the importance to the club that Touki is, because ideally he's not going to be an important or a big part of this team. But he did save us a lot last year. The White Sox were so thin on the starting pitching side. He came in through just under 100 innings for the White Sox at an ERA a little in the fours, very high fours, which is not great. But, man, we just needed an innings eater so badly last year, and he was able to provide that for us. So, anyway, let's jump into it. I have not looked at the rosters yet. As you see, my predictions are over here. And something else that has come to pass, and I'm not going to take points off for myself here because you can't predict an injury. Max Stassi is starting the season on the injured list, and because of that, our backup catcher is going to be Korey Lee. Another prediction I made in the previous video is that I think Lee is going to take over the number one catcher job by the end of the year, maybe by the All-Star break. Hopefully, he earns his way to stay on the team, and then he and Martin Maldonado 1-2, maybe they split the catching time. And it's really exciting to see and to hear. Maldonado was such a mentor to Korey Lee when they were both with the Astros last year, that when Korey Lee got traded away, they stayed in touch. And Maldonado remained kind of a mentor figure, even though the two guys were on different teams. So really, really nice that Martin Maldonado eventually signed with the White Sox. He was really brought on, I think, mostly to be this really good influence for our young pitchers. But the fact that he's going to be able to work side by side with Korey Lee, who is our catcher of the future, that's exciting to me. Okay, so White Sox announced opening day roster, and let's see how badly I missed. I know I made some bad mistakes right off the bat in the bullpen. Maldonado and Lee, as we covered, are the two catchers. And I don't know if Mendick and Remillard will both make the team as bench pieces. I feel like they're kind of an either or, but I'm pretty sure I put them both in. First base, Vaughn, that's obvious. Second base, Nicky Lopez. And then, of course, we're going to see DeYoung at short. Third base, Moncada. No surprises here. Outfield, Benintendi, Luis, and Dominic Fletcher. Dominic Fletcher did get the job in right. Okay, that was expected, even though he had a bad spring. I mean, maybe it wasn't terrible, but I wanted to see more out of him. But spring is spring. Let's see in the real deal in the major leagues. And we don't see the fourth outfielder listed, although I'm pretty sure that's Kevin Pillar. Bench utility, Braden Shewmake made it. Wow. I know he was injured in spring also. Gavin Sheets made it. That was my bold prediction, was that Gavin Sheets, because he does have minor league option years left. Gavin had a tremendous spring. You can't overlook how locked in he looked at the plate. Boy, so Mendick and Remillard, neither one made it. That is surprising. I thought one of those two would make it. All right, so I'm going to update this and point out my failures. So again, I'm still going to defend my pick. The White Sox have been so vocal about getting more versatile, more defensive in the field. And Sheets, he's been fine. He's been such a defensive liability that you definitely don't want to see him out there at all. I mean, he's in my opinion, he's a DH, a pinch hitter type, hitting with power from the left side. But last year, batting average in the low 200s and only had a handful of home runs. So he wasn't even providing that power. I would have to still imagine he's on a short leash. I think he's a very liked guy in the clubhouse, which counts for a lot. From everything we've heard, the culture of the White Sox was pretty bad last year. And if Sheets is a positive force, then maybe he's doing a lot more off the field that we don't see as fans. Braden Shewmake, I'm excited to see him make his, I'm guessing, his major league debut. Not his major league debut. He appeared in 2 games, a total of 4 at-bats last year with Atlanta. So, of course, if you hear Atlanta, that should ring the bell that is somebody that came over in the Aaron Bummer deal. So very cool to see that he's healthy, because again, I think he had a calf strain or something along those lines during spring training. So I thought that was going to take him out of the running. But yeah, he came over with Riley Gowns, Nicky Lopez, Jared Schuster, and Michael Soroka. And the Aaron Bummer deal, I still think that's an amazing trade that gets made. For Aaron Bummer, for one talented bullpen arm, we're getting a backup infielder, a starting infielder, a member of the rotation, and a future member of the rotation in Jared Schuster. So, man, Chris Getz, one of his first trades, maybe his first trade, was huge. Very positive trade for the White Sox. And consulting with Fangraphs, yes, he's got 2 minor league options remaining. So if he doesn't stick right away, not a problem. We can send him down without having to expose him through waivers or anything like that. There's hopefully my only misses. My bullpen guesses are going to be terrible. Let's see here. Starting pitchers, 4 listed. Kind of interesting. Crochet, Soroka, Fetty, and Flexen. I think we knew all those. I think that was pretty obvious. I picked Touki Toussaint as my number 5. So who is going to be the number 5? With the White Sox not needing a 5th start till April 3, they'll break with 9 relievers, and Nastrini should get the call at that point. Okay, so I don't exactly know how to credit myself here. It's a miss, obviously, but Nastrini not up. Okay, so let's go into the bullpen then. So we have Kopech, which we knew. That was the obvious one. John Brebbia is another obvious one, as is Hill, and he's next. See, Garcia. Deivi Garvia is somebody that was on the bubble for me. I think I was flipping a coin between him and Chad Kuhl. Did Kuhl make it? He did not. Also, Jordan Leasure was on my radar. So I'm going to put Garcia here. And again, this is like the worst I've ever done in predicting one of these, but it's also one of the most volatile rosters we've had in a long while. Dominic Leone was not on my radar at all. So let's see. Let's take Woodford out. So Jordan Leasure, like I said, Leasure was on my radar. Banks to me was a slam dunk. And Brian Shaw was somebody that I said I wouldn't put him on, but I think the White Sox will, and the White Sox did. Wilson is somebody that I've penciled in as my closer, but there's not a closer. It's been stated already that it's going to be a situational, a closer by committee, which that always hits the ear wrong after seeing how that works in the past. It's not common that you can do the closer by committee and have that really work out. Wilson's in, Banks is in, Kopech is in, Shaw, Hill, Brebbia. Oh, because since we're not going with that 5th starter, that's how we do get an extra bullpen piece here. But yeah, Leasure, Jordan Leasure. So as part of our Get to Know Your White Sox section here, we're taking a look at Jordan Leasure. When he pitches for the White Sox, that will be his major league debut. He has not played in the majors at all yet. Last year, 2023, he went from AA up to AAA and logged a good amount of time. Let's see, 15 games over 13 innings only. 6.08 ERA. We'll see what he has to offer. He came over from the Dodgers in that trade last summer. So this is still a Rick Hahn trade when the White Sox traded Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly to get Trace Thompson. Why? Nick Nastrini and Jordan Leasure. Yeah, I don't know why Trace Thompson was part of that as a throw-in. Nick Nastrini and Jordan Leasure came over, and of course, Nastrini is supposed to be a starter of the very near future. So we'll see how that trade. It'll take long term to see how that trade works out for us. Leasure was a 14th round, 30th pick for the Dodgers back in 2021. Overall, the 432nd player picked. That's pretty amazing. And congrats to him for getting picked so far down and making it to the big leagues. And to remind, Deivi Garvia was with the Sox last year. He had a middling at best look at the team. Coming over, he was actually better than I remembered. Just a 2.89 ERA, only 9.1 innings, 9 1/3 innings. So not a huge sample size, but he did well. He was even better with the Yankees. Again, just 2 games over 5 2/3 innings. So he can do multiple innings. Okay. He's better than I remember. Welcome back, Deivi Garcia. He was, I think, just DFA'd by the Yankees, and the White Sox picked him up. Okay, and it's hard to find exactly, but I think Deivi Garcia was signed initially by the Yankees as an international signee. Finally, let's see Mr. Dominic Leone. Dominic has more experience than I really thought he had. Boy, he's been all over. Seattle, Arizona, Toronto, St. Louis, Cleveland, San Francisco. He has logged 404 career games, 4 starts, 56 holds. That's nice. So he might be our 8th inning guy. And he's actually even picked up 8 saves. So a little bit of closing experience, not much. Last year alone, he played with the Mets, Angels, and Mariners. Okay, so again, this is getting to know your White Sox. Dominic Leone, I should have paid attention. Oh yeah, I wanted to see how he did this spring. 8 innings in 8 appearances, 2.25 ERA. All right, so he should have been on my radar. Maybe it's just because only 8 innings didn't seem like the White Sox were giving him too strong of a look. But maybe it's because they knew he was going to be in. Also nice to see that Brebbia has made the team. I know he was also dealing with some injury concerns over the spring. Just checking out the White Sox press releases in case any other news has come up. Yeah, Sammy Peralta was DFA'd. I didn't know that. He was somebody that was on the bubble for me. I almost added him to the list to make the bullpen. Happy to see that there are really no other major injuries. We've been relatively lucky, knock on wood. And quite honestly, I'm excited for this season. I know the White Sox don't have a lot of expectations. There's not a lot of hope for the playoffs. But it's also going to be one of the more interesting seasons we've had in a long time because we're going to see a lot of young talent that the White Sox have been able to stockpile pretty quickly. A lot of people should be making their major league debuts this year, which could be a window at what to expect in the future. Also, I'm happy that I don't think that there's any more selling off that will happen. If somebody like Kevin Pillar ends up being amazing, he's a rental that the White Sox could ship off. Same with Stassi or Maldonado. Again, though, I think Maldonado is really here to be a mentor more than a lot of what he does on the field. So I don't think we have to worry about saying goodbye to too many players. If Yoan Moncada gets super hot, yes, people will want him. The White Sox will probably still have to eat some salary. The White Sox also have some interesting pieces in the minor leagues. Jose Rodriguez, for one, who could step into the third base role. There's a lot of question marks right now, but it's exciting to see, will people like Michael Kopech, Andrew Vaughn, Garrett Crochet, will they make those next steps in their career? What do we really have to look forward to when it comes to Kopech? I could have seen Kopech being that kind of 5th spot starter guy, along middle reliever who, hey, on a doubleheader, he takes one of the games. But it looks like the White Sox are strongly looking to just keep him in the bullpen for now and see what happens. Can Crochet, how many innings can his arm handle after going through an injury and really not having a ton of major league experience when you really look at it? We've been saying his name for so long because he premiered with the White Sox back in 2020. But yeah, he hasn't gotten that many innings under his belt. He's going to quickly surpass his high water mark for major league innings. But yeah, how far can he go? Many people are expecting the White Sox to be one of the 3 worst teams in baseball. Some people are saying the worst team in baseball. I don't see it being that dire. Listen, I'm not saying I think that they're going to challenge for a wild card spot, that they're going to run away with the division or anything like that. But I think they're going to be a lot closer to 500 than people are expecting. And that's the optimism of spring, right? That's why we watch. That's why we tune in, is because at the beginning, anything is possible if a lot of these players can take that next step. And then we have, again, even more wild cards. That rotation is full of question marks. Flexen, Fetty, Soroka, and as I mentioned, Crochet. What can we expect out of these guys? I think we have improved defense, and I think the offense is going to be better than it was last year, just because I think people are going to naturally rebound a little bit. It was one of the worst, most frustrating seasons last year, seeing some of these guys that are talented, and the balls just weren't falling. The batters seem to have been elevating the ball much better in Arizona than they did at any point last year. Spring, Arizona, air, playing against minor leaguers, a lot of times it's hard to really judge what you have. If the White Sox, they barrel the ball up, but they often barrel it up and hit it directly at someone or into the ground. If they can elevate a little bit, a lot will be better. A lot will be better, but it doesn't really matter if the White Sox don't have any pitching. And that's the question mark. what kind of pitching do the White Sox have? One thing I'll say in doing this exercise is looking at the guys in the bullpen. Is there anybody from last year? No, the entire bullpen is different from last year to this year. We do have Foster, who's on the injured list still, and then Crochet, who has moved from the bullpen to the starting rotation. But otherwise, literally everyone else is gone, which gave me just zero hope for our bullpen. But looking at all these guys, I actually do have a lot more faith in our bullpen than I did prior to doing my roster prediction video. So hopefully the bullpen is a surprise strong feature of the White Sox. Time will tell on that. Speaking of time, I'm looking at the time, an hour and a half till first pitch. So I'm going to end it now so I can upload this. And for the first time this year, play ball and go Sox.